Welcome to the Comic Binge. I am your host, Paul Herman. Today we got a pretty awesome show to talk about. We're going to talk about Static, the Milestone Comics character that, let's face it, is probably the face of that whole thing, that whole project going forward. So we got a great show. We're going to talk about issues 1 through 8, mainly of the main series, Volume 1. So I'm excited. We have special super fans of Static. Chris from the Objective Geek podcast, big Avatar fan as well. Avatar being the obviously the cartoon, not the movies. Oh, I love the movies, but I'm not sure if Chris, the Objective Geek, likes the movies or not. But either way, I'm really excited to get into everything. Again, Static issues 1 through 8. We're going to get into it. If you haven't already, please hit the like video, hit subscribe, all that crap, because I hate saying that stuff, but please just subscribe today. It makes spider sense, right? Let's just do that. So without further ado, I'll bring in my partner in crime here. Chris Clow, how are we doing today, sir?
Doing all right, man. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm just
I feel
hanging
like we
in
haven't
there.
had a chance to say much to each other recently.
Well, we're busy. We're parents.
Well, no, I know. I'm not denigrating anybody. I was just like, I haven't talked to you in a while. That's all.
Well, hopefully we'll talk soon. You know, I mean, whatever. We'll hang out soon. We'll
You
hang
haven't
out.
seen Fury of the Gods yet.
I have not. You
We might have
ruined
to-
that for me.
I ruined that for you? Look,
You
man.
ruined it for me.
Hey,
You betrayed me.
I was up north.
You betrayed me.
And my brother-in-law always bullies me into seeing movies. He's like, "Why don't you wait to watch movies with us?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, I'm down there, and I don't know."
It's me.
Here.
That's why. It's me.
So he and my cousins and I went to see it because they really wanted to see it, and they didn't even like it. Like I was like, "Oh, it's fine," and they didn't even like. So then I felt bad, and I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all right. I forgive you. Anyway, so again, today we're going to be talking about Static, Milestone Comics. I don't know if we call it DC Comics, Milestone Comics, or which would you go? We'll ask him. We'll ask him himself. Thank you for returning back from the Objective Geek YouTube channel and Avatar podcast. We have Chris. Chris, how are we doing today, sir?
Doing great. I borderline loved Fury of the Gods. I thought it was
Really?
it was
There
great.
you go.
All right.
You liked it better than my nieces did, and my uncle did, or my brother-in-law did. So
That's always the worst thing, going to the movies with someone and they don't like the movie.
yeah, when
It's,
there's
such
like a
fun.
disconnect, it makes
Yeah.
it kind of. I mean, it's not awkward per se, but kind of, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's why that's why I just go by myself all the time.
Man,
I-
those are the days.
Those are the days. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah.
like going with Paul, but when it comes to like if I have a choice, like if Paul's not available, I prefer to probably go by myself. But then someone's like, "Well,
Have you? I'm sorry, we're diverging here. Have you ever went to a movie
No.
theater and you're the only person in the theater? It is absolutely chef's kiss. I saw Coco like that. I think because my defenses were down, I was just bawling all
man.
throughout the end
Heard.
of it.
That's a
I've
kind of
heard.
freedom
I've
that
heard.
you don't often get. So you should take
Yeah.
advantage of that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, talking about Static here, and Chris, I've known you and I've known of you, I guess you could say, I always mentioned Static as a character that you're really into, and I'm ashamed to say back when, and we'll talk a little bit about Milestone too, our history of it just in general, because I'm a little older than you are. And so when Milestone was created, it's one of those things where the characters really intrigued me a lot.
Mhm.
And, I remember seeing the characters being like, man, like I really like these characters, but the problem was Milestone was created during like the economic boom of the comic book scene in the 90s. And we're talking like it came out with not just with Image Comics, but the Ultraverse. I mean, there were like, Valiant. I mean, there were so many different comic book universes being created. It got too much for me. But I always was intrigued by and I knew like the racial implications of obviously a little bit of it because they're all black characters, and I was like, oh, cool, like because it's different. But I remember being like, I wanted to always buy their comics, but I was being a kid. I had limited funds. I mean, I could barely keep up with Spider-Man and X-Men and Fantastic Four, but but Static always was a character I really liked. I love this design. It's so simple. And I know we argued, sir,
about
about
the number one here.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I bought this years ago, like for $2.
$2.
That's awesome.
Yeah. In fact, I have the other one. There's two of them because
I got this one.
Came out with, yeah, I had that one signed by the co-creator Dennis Cowan.
No way.
Excellent.
Nice. So anyway, but I know we argued that, not to diverge. I'm not gonna diverge too much here, Chris, but we argued a little bit about that new Margot Robbie, new Harley Quinn design. But no, this is what I'm talking about. Actually, to kind of bring back up my point. You disagree with me, but what I love the simplicity of this costume, and that was always something as a kid I really liked. And it was and I knew he was a younger character. I liked that because I gotta tell you, I do not like the yellow outfit from the cartoon. I did not like that outfit at all, personally. So, without going,
that's the best suit for me. Sorry,
we know.
The season, because he has two outfits for the cartoon. He has one with the white shirt, black logo. And I'm a big logo guy. Like as superheroes, I love a good logo because it means a lot. Like when someone sees the bat symbol, they're like, boom, Batman. Sees the S in the chest, Superman. In Static in the cartoon, in the second look, he has the S through the lightning bolt S. Love that. The second look with the black shirt, blue jacket, yellow under side, so great. And I would top it off because I cosplay as Static.
No way.
And look, cool. Yeah, I cosplayed as him at Planet City Comic Con 2 years in a row. And I love having the blue jacket. Like cosplaying as Static is just I've cosplayed as different characters throughout different things. Like cosplayed as Batman, as Bane, as characters from Avatar, in Static. And it just feels so different cosplaying as Static. Like in this like I often felt like Static. And like that black nerd that sometimes is ignored not only by other nerds but people within the black community. We don't have to get too into it, but
whatever you want, man. It's up to you.
But we are here. Like I was having this conversation with my sister the other day, who's like, "Oh, your daughter needs," because my daughter's trying to get her to watch like anime and stuff, and she's trying to get her to watch other stuff. I'm like, no, we're black geeks. We're out here. Like blurs are out here. Like we're in everything, in anime and superheroes and stuff. Like let her watch all that stuff and encourage it. And cosplaying a Static just feels so different. Like I don't know, it feels like I'm home almost.
Reverend, before I go into go too much, because you brought up some great points, because that's the thing I thought was really awesome about Static, and still think it's awesome about Static, is that he represents for black kids, this younger character that they're Spider-Man. He's Miles Morales before Miles Morales, right? And that's a funny story. So when Milestone was created, Dwayne McDuffie, late great Dwayne McDuffie, one of the genius. He was writer. Like the main genius writer. He was the main writer for the Justice League cartoon, the Cadmus arc. Yep.
On there, one of the great seasons of superhero, probably one of the best renditions of the Justice League in animation or in film. He was thinking, all right, there's like three sort of types of superheroes. You have your Batman-esque character, you have your Superman-esque character, and you have your Spider-Man character. And so with Milestone, they have Icon being that Superman-esque character, Hardware be more so that Batman kind of tech type of deal, and then Static
Iron
being
Man?
Spider-Man. Yeah, or yeah.
You used to want to say Iron Man with me. I know you, Chris. I know where you're at.
I mean, I don't know if I agree with that just basic assessment of like superheroes are sort of bogged down to these three different things. But Static was that Spider-Man one. It's funny meeting Dennis Cowan. I got to meet him at a Comic Con a couple years ago, cosplaying as Static, which was freaking amazing. And then just sitting down having conversations with him, he was like, "Oh yeah, Miles Morales is just a copy of Static." And I'm like, "Yeah, we all know. We all know.
Yeah, no, he is. Like, absolutely. Yeah, that's
and it's fine. It's a circle. Things inspire other things and stuff.
Absolutely. No, and I think that's what makes what's interesting about Static too is that the original series it lasted 45 issues, so it wasn't like because if it wasn't doing well, it would have been canceled, obviously. I don't know how the other Milestone issues or how long they went, but I mean, Static going for 45 issues in the mid late 90s is pretty impressive because 45 that's a good run, and I think that I almost think that if Milestone was created earlier, like in like the late 80s opposed to the early 90s, mid to mid 90s, it would have been way better, would have fared even more because again, a competition, you had Image, Valiant, Ultra Force. That's an Ultraverse comic. But anyway, but so I guess for me, I love the look of this character, but again, funds were so hard to come by. I couldn't just jump in and buy all these comic books. I had one Milestone comic book. It was a hardware issue I picked up. But Cowan's art was, I mean, his Deathlock comics are just phenomenal. They look fantastic. I mean, he's a phenomenal artist and storyteller. Yeah. So, Reverend, before I give it back to Chris, because I want to keep picking his brain about this character. What's your history with Static and everything?
I mean, it was really being introduced to him through the DCAU. Honestly, like I enjoy watching his show, but for some reason, the one that really sticks out in my mind is the episode where Static actually the League goes like 50 years into the future and they encounter like Terry McGinnis as Batman, old Bruce Wayne.
Once in a future thing.
Yeah, exactly. The Once in Future thing, parts 1 and 2. And Static is, he's like probably in his mid 60s, and he says 65 is the new 30 these days. And
nice.
And I always thought that was all. And Phil Lamar just did such a great job voicing Static throughout all of his animated appearances. I remember seeing an interview with Phil Lamar where he just talked about how this is the character I always wanted to read when I was a kid, because it feels real. You feel like you're going on the journey with him through the pages, and I felt seen reading Static stories, even though I was older when the series started coming out. So as I started to appreciate Dwayne McDuffie more, I went back to some of these early issues of Static, but it's been a long time since I've read them. So I read the first 4 today that were co-written by McDuffie, and it's just such strong character work. I think that's the thing that really sticks out in my mind is that Virgil feels 3-dimensional, he feels like he is trying to do the best that he can with these really extraordinary circumstances, but he is also, responding to the problems that are inherent in his own community. You get a little bit of pathos from his mom trying to tell him, we moved to a different part of town so that you wouldn't get into the scrapes that you were before. And I just love how real it feels. And the Spider-Man comparison is an apt one, but I tend to think that Static tends to come across as even more like grounded than certainly early Spider-Man stories. And you could probably just chalk it up to the maturation of the medium, 25, 30 years hence. But I think that this is just a really cool character. The stuff that they're doing with Static now is also pretty fun. Like I'm not caught up yet, but I'm reading season 1, the sort of Milestone revival that DC is doing. And I like that design too. We're talking costumes. I actually think Static's current design is pretty great. But I think these 4 on the original series, they are just such a pure reading experience that I can't help but just smile virtually every time I turn the page. And Dwayne McDuffie, I think he's an underrated ongoing Justice League writer in the books too. He took over the ongoing Justice League series right after Brad Meltzer finished. And he was on it for a while. He was on it for like 25 issues, I think. And we were getting monthly Dwayne McDuffie Justice League stories. And, it started out with Meltzer's roster, but he really did make that book his own. And I remember just being really glad that someone of his caliber was writing that book on a regular basis. From what I understand too, Johns wanted Static on his roster for the Teen Titans and was told no for some reason. But
he showed up in a few. He showed up later in a few Teen Titans issues, or is it Young Just? No, it's Teen Titans. Yeah,
he showed up in Terror Titans, but that was
right.
I think that was after Johns was off of the book. But it sounds like Johns wanted him from the beginning, and for whatever reason, they kept telling him no, and that's just such a missed opportunity, because that would have been
absolutely
like not only invoking him into the DCU earlier, but I think Johns is a pretty good ensemble writer. But I mean, in terms of just the purity of a Static reading experience, he got nothing on Dwayne McDuffie. I mean, he had such a clear conception of who Static was supposed to be, and that's what really punched me in the face when I was reading these issues today.
One of the things about this series that I think was the original comic books is that obviously is this the artist, and it was John Paul. I'm trying to find his name.
Leon.
Yeah, Leon. I was really impressed with the layouts and the storytelling. For those who don't know, there's a great DC has now finally, after it took 4 years, it seems like, this great Milestone compendium. It's like an omnibus, but it's not. It's actually honestly a lot easier to read than an omnibus. It's not as big as an omnibus as far as tall, but like it's compact enough where obviously it's like a big phone book, but it gets me. It puts so much in here, and it has the first like basically year or so of all the Milestone comic books. And I've only read the Static stuff in this, but when I went to go read it, I was blown away how great his art was, man. Like I loved his art to death. And one of the cool things about it was very simple. How it was very clear what's going on. And what I mean by that is that there's no like fancy, there's every once in a while he might pull something in here or there, which I'll show an example. But I was really impressed with the storytelling of these characters. And I think that also played a part. And I'm curious in your perspective, Chris, because again, this is, I from your perspective as, a black kid growing up and reading about Static, it just felt different in the way everything felt in that series. And I think the art and the storytelling really plays a part in that. I don't know. It felt so I really felt the characters way more than I think I had that I have read for young kids in a long time in any comic I've read. And I'm not saying these comics are genius in a sense to where like they're
like Watchmen or something like that.
Yeah. I don't want to say it like that, but I will, because I enjoyed it. I told the Reverend here, I said, the one thing about this, they cram a lot in these books, which is really cool, because today's comics they don't cram enough in there, I think. But that being said, my favorite parts were like learning about the family and the dynamics of like not just with him, but like his friends, and the fact that he had like all these different friends. It wasn't just like he only had like hung out with this crew. He had like all kinds of friends. It's like, because that's what kids have. Like we're in high school, at least for me, unless you're a racist a-hole. Like I had friends, all kinds of friends. I had Asian friends, black friends, white friends, whatever, right? And like same with now. And like it was cool seeing Virgil be like,
you actually grew up in an environment that had more than just one type of person. That's
kind of.
I did not. So it was
but
it was.
But it was
all
really
alabaster cream in my school.
But even reading it as like a 20, I'm a 41-year-old man. Just remember, back in the day, like I remember some of those conversations that they talk about in those comics. They really did a great job of bringing out these issues. But just seeing like the art and the storytelling, it felt different than other books that I've read about young kids. And I'm just curious your perspective of someone to look up to like Static and everything, and just kind of, at least with these original issues, what's your do you like these original comic books we read for issues 1 through 8, and it's kind of your general take of Static and all that?
I'll backtrack a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
My history with Static is like just like Chris said, starts off with the Static Shock cartoon. And also, I don't get on people's back if I call him Static Shock. I know his name is Static.
I don't like Static. Yeah,
I,
why do they call him Static Shock? Tell me why.
I don't mind because the show's called Static Shock. The thing is, in my head, look, yeah, go because the show's called Static Shock, even though no one ever in the show or in the comic ever calls him Static Shock.
Okay.
But I don't care. I don't like a lot of Static fans like jump down people's throat if you call them Static Shock. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like whatever. For me, to me, I actually think Static Shock might be a better name, just because the term static,
You're crazy.
the term static in this point is an adjective to describe the type of electricity it is. So it's an adjective. A lot of superheroes their names aren't adjectives. Like sure, Mr. Fantastic, but there's Mr. That's the noun.
Yeah.
So that's neither here nor. I hate that saying. That is anyway.
You're betraying your own feelings today.
I am right. I am. Anyway, my point is, I started off with the cartoon, and I remember watching it, like, man, this is a young black kid who's like who's smart, but also he runs with he knows people with different crowds and stuff from from the honor roll to some less nice people, and I'm like, that's me. Like, I grew up in North Tulsa. Like, I was very smart as a kid, but I hung out with all different types of people. I was I tell my wife sometimes, like, I'm somewhat of an oxymoron. Like, I grew up a geek, but also I grew up in the hood, like, where sometimes you just things are just different. And I felt so seen by Static. I felt like that's me. That's that character. Like, I'm smart. I'm not like freaking superhuman smart, but the Static is very much a genius. Like, he gets into some fights, and like people talk about Batman with prep time. Static with prep time is also an issue for people, for foes. But I grew up feeling like I was Static. I felt seen finally. And Batman's always my first love. But even when I cosplay as Batman, it's different, like cosplaying as Static. Because Static, I just feel like that's me as a character. And when it comes to the comic books, so then I had no idea about Milestone at that point. Like, I just thought this is a cartoon, black superhero kid, cool. I love it. Loved it when it was when he showed up in Justice League episodes. Those are some of my favorite episodes to watch. Once a Future Thing, part 1 and 2. Just some, amazing storytelling there. And then, like, I was like probably 20 something or around 18, where I started to like pay attention to the behind the scenes people. And then I was like, oh, the writer of Justice League is Jamie Duffy's a black person. I'm like, holy crap! Like, that's crazy. That's amazing. Like, one of my favorite shows about superheroes is a black. And then I started learning more about Dwayne McDuffie, and I was like, holy crap! He created and co-created, founded a whole freaking line of not only black superheroes, different superheroes from all races and stuff. That was their point. They didn't want to tell just black stories, but they wanted to tell everybody's stories. Like, you'll find Asian characters, Hispanic, white characters, and they'll have all these conversations. Even the creators behind it was more than, John Paul Leon is a white guy. I believe the Paul Almighty's got their start in Milestone, if I'm not too mistaken there. And so they really wanted a very all-inclusive story to tell. So then I didn't really start reading the comics until probably like I was 24 or something around there. And going back and reading that, that's a whole nother level, because like the comics get so deep, and I was like, oh crap, like this is, and the show gets deep too. Like, I was watching an episode the other day, and I was just crying watching it. It was episode about it was a Christmas episode, and Static had to. There was this little girl who was like, she was homeless, um, and she was like a metahuman or bang baby, if you will, if that's what they call them. And he had to figure out how to like solve this issue. He thought she was just like a villain, and then he ends the episode helping her out because that's what heroes do. And they ended it on such a nice mark, like in church with Christian reverends, rabbis, everyone. Um,
Mm.
just love the episode. Sorry, going off a tangent.
No,
But
you're good,
they
man.
talk about so much of that stuff in these issues. The first four I think is a great, solid intro to the character, great origin story. Uh, I'm glad they did it in the second issue because it's just I think the pacing is really good. And one of the things I really loved about it is that Static. One of the things I loved about the character Static, specifically in these comics, is that he is fallible, like on many different levels. Like he is somewhat ignorant minded on certain things, um, and like when it comes to later on in the issues in this Calculus War, like him and his friend Frida get in debates about like who has it worse, Jewish people or Black people,
Yeah.
and they get into these conversations, and some of their points of view are somewhat narrow minded, and then
Yeah.
later on their parents come in like, wait a minute, you have that thought, well think about it from their angle and this and this. And I
Right.
found that just like so freaking enlightening to have those conversations.
Yeah.
um and
To
they get
have the
in they get
insight too.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, because I only want to interrupt you because as someone who doesn't have that any of those can't relate to that, it was good to see that different side of it, that an insight that I don't have, and again those conversations that like that people have, and I'm not able to see or relate to in that
Hmm.
way. It was great to see a different perspective, and that's the one thing about these static comics that I really really enjoyed was they were fun to read, but it's almost like I'm learning about these different people too, because I don't know all these conversations people have, and it's really interesting to see that perspective. And again, go ahead, Chris. Go
Well,
ahead.
it's also just like that's how those kinds of conversations would play out. Like if they're two
Exactly.
kids talking about, I mean, anything, but particularly something that has a sensitivity attached to it, their parents overhear them. They're going to try and, at least in most cases, say, well, think about it a little more broadly. And I think
Hmm.
that's one of the things that I do appreciate about the writing is that that's just another level of the realism that seems attached to the emotional
Mm.
resonance of these stories. It feels emotionally real. I don't need it to be physically real. Who cares? We're reading comics, right? We want to see cool things,
Right.
but the emotional realism is always going to be like critically important, and that's on full display for particularly those first four issues, the ones that I read.
Yeah. Yeah. So Chris, my question to you is, reading these issues, was it kind of like for you, was it experiencing like, oh man, you said you kept saying you feel seen when you read the static comic books? Did you feel that like not only did you feel seen, but like, man, like this is like because you discovered the cartoon first, right? As what you told me, you
Yep.
discovered the cart. Okay, so did it make you realize, oh man, like there's even more comic characters for me to get deep dive into with Static, with like the Milestone group or any other characters?
Yeah, really, yeah. Just take a deep dive to all the other ones. Like is Icon and Rocket is some crazy is just really interesting storytelling, right? Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Icon is an alien that came to Earth, like crash landed on Earth, and
Mhm.
part of the defense mechanism for them is that they turn into a baby of the first species that they see, right? Because if like you land on a planet, you don't want to be killed and stuff, so he turned to baby. He turned into first thing he saw was a black slave in the 1600s, so he turned into a black baby. He was raised as such, and then he just changed his name all throughout time. So he's like 400 years old, and he's very conservative, like conservative in the sense of politically conservative. He's like Why aren't black people lifting themselves up by their own bootstrap and stuff? Like he's like that type of black conservative, which nothing against black conservatives.
We're going off the rails here tonight, folks.
Sorry, but it's so interesting. He meets Raquel, aka Rocket,
right.
and she's completely opposite of him. She's like completely, black liberal, and she's like, no, you should be doing this and this, like this, like you haven't seen it through this angle. Like things aren't black and white like that. Like Raquel is really the main focus and viewpoint of that series, and not Icon, even though the story is called Icon. And Rocket is such a great character. Like she shows up in both Icon and Rocket show up in Young Justice, and she's like a main member of that team, which is just also great to see Rocket be on the team. Not to go into the other medium there, and then hardware, another great. In my adult life, I related more to Hardware because Hardware's story. Curtis Metcalf is his name. He like spent his whole life, his whole career working for this white businessman who ended up betraying him. And they, because he ends up blaming Hardware for like the big bang that happens because the police use gas from Alpha Industries. And then Hardware now has to clear his name and stuff. He has to go against this white establishment, if you will. And the way I relate to that is that throughout my corporate life, I have worked for like being black in corporate America. I don't think I was as ready for it at college. Like they don't prep you for that in this school. Like how do you handle that?
Yeah.
Also being an introvert.
You don't seem like an introvert at all, though.
Oh, I love being alone. But, I can handle it at times. The thing is, my sister tried to tell me that I'm not an introvert because I hosted a panel at Comic-Con full of like hundreds of people. I'm like, no, I am definitely an introvert. But there's some things like I grew up of just like, all right, just put your head down and work hard. Mm-hmm. In like corporate America, that's not how you get far. Unfortunately, it's not just put your head down and work hard. Like you gotta like socialize and network with people and stuff. It's not what you know, is who you know and stuff like that. That took a while to grow out of. And like there's been so many times in my career, I'm like, why did this person get promotion? Why this person get promotion? I do this better than they do, and they do. And I feel like I related so much to Hardware's character in that sense. Unfortunately, my job now is I think they're great. Yes, as someone said, I do agree with sentiment that Icon is like a better. I love Martian Manhunter, but he is somewhat similar to Martian Manhunter in that sense.
Yeah. So I guess for me, because Dwayne McDuffie, he jumps off the book after I think as you said
issue 5, Robert
issue 5,
Washington takes over fully.
Yeah, and it's not bad. And I again, I want to keep reading. I have I read the first 8 issues on this compendium, and I plan on getting the second compendium too, because I want to read Hardware a lot because the storytelling, Cowan's art is just chef's kiss. But there's some really cool moments here where I really enjoy. And there's one I thought I grabbed the page, but maybe I didn't. I'll try to find it here. But there's just really cool things here with just how simple these layouts are. They're so basic, but it's so straightforward, and I love that about Static. And when this book was canceled, it was weird that the Static, like you said, Chris, before the show, that like Jeff Johns tried to get him on like one of the teams, and so I guess someone said no or something like that. What's fascinating to me is that he seems perfect for like Teen Titans or even like a Justice League kind of a thing, and it's weird that like just now the Icon part of the Milestone, the Milestone characters are just now starting to get rebranded, if you will. It's Static's popularity, back in the day of the cartoon show. It amazes me they didn't do anything with them for a long time,
Well, there's the rights are ridiculous. It took them this relaunch was supposed to happen
years ago. I remember,
4 years ago. And I was excited about it 4 years ago.
I remember
Um,
that. Yeah.
like there's such a weird partnership. Like DC and Milestone are separate entities, and yet they can't really do anything with these characters unless they have like full agreement with it. Um,
Right.
like, and as much as some people want to be like, "Oh, these are Milestone characters," they can't be published in Marvel. I know that they can't be published anywhere else. Like, they have to be published through DC, and DC can't just be like, "Oh, well, I want to do this without." And so there were so many things they had to go through to just to get the relaunch back up.
Mhm.
So many legalities, not even with DC, with the other people who was in on it. I know I had this conversation with Dennis Cowan. So I'm over name drop. I actually have his phone number in my phone, which is amazing.
Well, if you want to help him get on the show with us, I would love to
Yeah.
have that happen,
I
sir.
try not to abuse it too much because I met him at Comic Con. I was cosplaying as Static, and I had a Static action figure with me. He was like, "Hey, where'd you get that from? I want to get one." And so like I showed him, like, he followed me around Comic Con as I was trying to find exactly where this action figure was at. It was just freaking surreal. That's a replay. And then he
That's
was
so
like, "This is
awesome.
crazy. I'm walking with Static, looking for a Static action figure." He was really cool. And I showed him like a video of my kids watching the cartoon years ago because and they were singing to the song and stuff. Holy crap! I have no idea what point I was trying to originally make there.
No,
But
no,
anyway, the rights
yeah, the rights.
are it's so many legalities and stuff and issues with it. But I'm glad
Right.
to see it's back. Hopefully, you can get a movie going. Michael B. Jordan seems to be attached to like produce and stuff. And after directing Creed, I think he could go in and direct. These stories are just Static as a character specifically is just so important to me, and I think it's just the absolute right time for him.
Yeah.
He just fits so well, and his power and his use of his power, his creativity that's shown all throughout these panels. Like, it's shown in the cartoon, but I feel like in these panels and these pages, it's it's just really shown. Like, my favorite image of Static is this cover here, done by John Paul Leon. I loved it so much. I made a mosaic
Show it again. Show it again.
glass.
Show it. Show it again. Show it again. Show it again. Here, let me. I'll
There we
put
go.
this out here. Yeah, that looks awesome.
Like, the thing I love about how he draws, how he pencils, is like his electricity is it's so fluid. You can follow it. Like,
Yeah,
I've
you're right.
I've
Yeah,
stared
yeah.
at this image for like 500 hours because because
Oh,
I made this mosaic glass portrait here.
so
First mosaic
cool.
I ever did. Like, you zoom in on it, you can see all the individual pieces of glass on there and stuff.
Dang, dude,
That's awesome.
that's
But
awesome.
I think I'd never done a mosaic before that, and I was like, I think I could do it. And
You did it. Yeah, it looks great. What? So I guess with Static, one of the cool things about it, for me initially in these first 8 issues is that he has like the friend that's a girl, right, and he's in love with her,
yeah, oh
but
yeah,
right, but she doesn't reciprocate, but they're still friends. And I like the fact that he had to work through that process, you know,
Mhm.
and it was really interesting to see this, not just from the racial dynamic, but like from this, for me, like, I didn't have a ton of friends that were girls, because whatever, I was an ugly middle school kid and just, whatever. But it was cool because you got to see kind of, him working through the fact that like girls are not just, fodder for relationships of, whatever, girlfriend relationships, but he had to learn, at a young age of like the harsh realities of just, being friends. And that's still awesome and everything. I really like that. Then, and I thought they did a good job of working through those different things. In this, again, like just the whole dynamic of their relationship, I thought was cool. I like the fact that he had, like, she was like the grounding for him as a character. I'm not sure where that goes later on after the comic
was that
books.
a pun?
I
Electrical.
don't. It
Sorry.
was not. I promise it was not. It was an accident. No, but like I just don't. It was interesting to see where, like, this dynamic of her keeping him, level headed and not like and making him kind of rethink, because he definitely would, like, the young person thing, would get too excited. but whenever he would like stop and think, that genius level aspect that you would talk about would come out. And I love that. I really liked the fact when he went up against that crazy guy who wanted to kill everybody. I love that that little
Which
like
one?
arc.
Hot Streak or that one? Commando X.
Commando X, yeah, Commando X.
Yeah, I freaking
really
love.
like
So funny enough, I thought I had read these issues for some reason because I have like a bunch of static comics because I just collect them as I can find them. Although nowadays I can't find them anywhere. People have probably gone through all the dollar bins and dug out whatever they can.
Yep.
And so like I had a hole in my collection, and so I thought I had read this, and so when I'm reading it in this, and as I was reading this compendium earlier, so when I got it, I just skipped over static because I thought I'd already read it. I was like, holy crap, I haven't read this. Like these conversations they're going through, I was engaged, like binging through it, just up at middle of the night, reading through it. And Commando S is like, he is. I would describe it as like a fake woke person, that the type of person I hate. Because it's just,
thank you.
He's like, hey brother, what haven't you thought with your third eye while the white man is keeping us down? Jewish, like he hates the advancement of other races or other minorities, and black people have gotten. And the sad thing about that is that there's a little bit of truth to that, and that's the thing with really good villains, right? Or
right,
just anything, like a little bit of truth that's twisted in a manner that they can sometimes, I think, seduce people into certain ideologies, right? You put a little bit of truth in there, and I think that's kind of what he represented. I mean, we have that, to this day. Like, think about certain people in the not press, but celebrities like Kanye and Kyrie Irving, who talks about Jewish people. It's like, what are you guys talking about? Like,
yeah,
what in the world? And like, that's this character, and he goes out there, he wants to like bomb all these places and stuff like that. He's a terrorist. In the background, you have these characters having these in-depth conversations about what hardships have you gone through, and having these conversations, and then the parents coming in and really putting things into perspective, being like, hey, you should show empathy, think about things from their perspective, and here. I found him to be a really interesting character, in not in the sense of him as a character was good, but just how he was just opposed against Static, and how Static had to go undercover and almost indoctrinate himself into that thought process. Like, there was a point while I was reading the book, I was like, this is a crazy story. Like, because Static as Virgil Hawkins undercover, trying to sneak in and gain the trust of this terrorist person by like agreeing with them on things. Like, oh yeah, man, like I see how, what your point here is, man. Yeah, we're always downtrodden and beaten, so we got to rise up. And I just thought this was a freaking crazy story, and I love how like it had a detective aspect to it. The Static is smart. Like, he put one to one together, do some detective work, figure out, do his own little matches Malone type of stuff.
Well, and that's the thing. Again, one of the credits of the character, it was his brilliance was more subtle, I felt, and I'm too oblivious to this stuff, but like, is that something that you guys would agree in those 8 issues or whatever you read, Chris? But like, it felt like as I'm reading this, it never hit me over the head like, I'm so smart, I'm the smartest guy around. Like, it kind of built it up naturally, and kind of reminded me of Peter Parker. I mean, not that it's obvious, but I mean, like in the original Stan Lee Steve Ditko comic books, it's a little more like, oh, like he built his own web shooters. Oh, he's at the science fair. Like, it built it up naturally. It was like, it just became a part of the character. And it was like the same thing for Virgil. I felt it wasn't like it hitting me over the head. You got to see and feel I think his failures, but also like how smart he was. And it was done it was paced. That's what I'm trying to say. It was paced very well, revealing how smart he was. Would you agree to that, guys?
100%. Yeah, because I think
Okay.
even in the cartoon, I think it was so subtle that I thought for a minute that I was as smart as Static until I look back and I'm like, holy crap! No, he's talking about stuff way over my head. Like, and then here,
Right.
yeah, he is using science. Like even, yeah, he was riding on manholes for a while or trash cans, and he was like, oh, I got to figure out something different than that. Let me tinker around and create this thing that can just come out whenever I need it to come out. I think he was subtle. Like he's not Reed Richards, like, oh, I'm the smartest man in the room. But also everyone knows he's smart, but he's also freaking goofy. Like he's
Yeah,
clowning around
exactly.
and stuff.
Right. He almost like he hides it. It's almost like he doesn't want to reveal, and maybe that's part of the character. And again, I'm not sure if I'm just Captain Stupid or whatever here, but it felt like in these comic books, it felt like maybe he hid behind his goofiness to hide how smart he was because he didn't want to be an outsider to even his own friends. Because he's
Mm,
already an outsider already. Like that was a cool thing I think for me is that it's like he was an outsider, like everyone else was an outsider. It wasn't like he was just an outsider with his friends who were all black or whatever. It was like he was with other kids of all kinds of like just being like, I'm an outsider. We're all doing weird things, and I'm just a big goofy kid. But he was really smart. And he still would fall into the same trappings like we all would when we were kids, right? And I love that aspect that even though he's smart brilliantly, he's a kid and he's not going to know everything, and he's going to make a lot of dumb mistakes like we all do. So the subtleness I thought of his brilliance, but again, it was all in line with, I felt, how he as a character developed and could be seen as a smart kid. So when he does these things that are smart, you're not like, oh, you have to, it's just it's time to push the story forward. Static's got to figure this out. It definitely all felt in line because we also saw it like in Spider-Man comic books back in the day. He failed. He fails at times, right? And I love that aspect too. Reverend, you haven't said much. You want to add anything with this?
I'm mostly enjoying listening. I mean, one of the things that I don't know if it's quite emphasized in these early issues, but something that was certainly emphasized by the time Static is incorporated into the DCU. And yeah, I was mistaken. Chris, you're right, because Static did join the Titans like relatively high in that series, well after Johns had left. And there was one issue that I had forgotten about, but something jogged my memory, where Connor, Superboy, is attacked with kryptonite, and Static absorbs the energy of the kryptonite and redirects it back at the people that they're fighting. And it's just like, that's such a cool thing to exhibit. And Static is a powerful character.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love how in the early issues in particular, they are playing with how to exactly to depict what his power looks like. And I loved the moment that you mentioned about like, I gotta figure something else out. This manhole thing is not working for me. Because it's funny, but it's also like practical, and it just again it adds to like the sort of emotional realism that's at play in these stories. But it also got me thinking about just the necessity of these stories to really kind of expose people to something that's beyond what they can see in their own backyard. These stories, like if I read these as a kid, I feel like I would have had my eyes opened about how things
Absolutely.
are beyond
I
just.
wish I had read these comics when I was a kid.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, they didn't have them at my library. What a shock! And Podunk Cowtown of 10,000 people 5 minutes from the Canadian border didn't have Static comics, but oh well. But no, I mean, it's just like there's such a purity again to the way that the medium is deployed in these issues in particular, but I think Static is also proof of just how high he has the potential to reach. I mean, he's reached a lot already. Like, I don't want to diminish what we've gotten from Static. Like, how many superheroes, especially comparatively lesser known superheroes have had their own animated series, right? I mean,
Yeah, that ran 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
Like,
4 seasons. Wow, that's pretty impressive. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
With a couple of instances of, like teaming up with Kevin Conroy's Batman, like that's even rarer. Like the number diminishes from there. But Static is a great character on his own, and that's what helped get him that show. And I agree with Chris. I mean, there is so much that he can bring to the table. Like, we're getting to a point now, I think, of diminishing returns when it comes to comics-based media, where people are starting to get a little impatient with the kinds of movies that are coming out. Static can help fix that. And I hope that they, pay close attention and they employ him as a character with the care that he deserves to show people that there is more to superhero storytelling beyond the kinds of stories that you might be getting a little bit tired of. And Static would be the perfect character to bring that forward, in my estimation.
What are the things?
It's really it's really interesting. I think so. Speaking from Black perspective, Black Panther was a freaking cultural phenomenon. Like, my sisters who aren't into superhero movies, I have 4 sisters. They all like, hey, we're all seeing it. Everyone has seen it. And the thing about Black Panther, though, is it doesn't tell the Black American story. And I want that story. And I think Static is the perfect person to tell that story.
Great point. Wow. That's wow. What I guess, let's piggyback that off for a minute there, Chris, because I'm curious what do you think for Static to be successful? Because I do think you're right. I think Static could almost be that Black Panther for the American, for the American Black kid and that whole Black youth, if you will. What do these comics bring that the movie would need to adapt in order to be successful? That's my question for you, because these comics better than I do. What do they need to bring over and adapt that this medium has done for it to be a financially successful movie for us? Because I think Virgil is definitely a worthy character to connect to. But what from these comics can they take that's going to make it successful, you think?
I think so. One of the things I loved, I'm not a huge fan of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, but one of the things I loved about them,
tread lightly, sir.
One of the things I loved about him was the diversity of the school he was in. And like, I think if you take the writing from these characters in these books, because they feel like real people, and put them into like that same diverse cast and put that dialogue in there, that's going to make people feel like, oh, this is real. Like, oh, I know that person. I think that's going to be one of the most important things, to see the lens of a young youth with superheroes sprinkled in there. And superheroes are, that's a wider thing. But I think that would be the biggest thing. Also, I think bringing in that Static is infallible on many different ways. I've talked about that before, because we all make mistakes. Like, none of us are freaking perfect at all. And Static is not perfect in
Speak for
his
yourself,
personal
sir.
life. Static's not perfect in his personal life or in his superhero profession, but it's about continuing to try and be better. And you see that, and even in how they handle his relationships with his friends, like with Frida.
Right.
He's all, like you mentioned, at first he's all about like hooking up with her.
Right.
It's funny because the whole Static having sex thing is huge drama. Like issue 26.
Yeah.
Huge drama.
I remember. I watched the documentaries are fantastic, by the way. The one on the Robert Kirkman and the HBO Max one. Go watch them, people. They're fantastic. I love them.
Yeah. And like his relationship with Frida, his relationship with his parents, with his sister, his relationship with people that he kind of look up to, like Larry in this comic book gives him the gun to go
Dude,
kill somebody. Like,
dude.
holy
Can I
crap! Like,
can I piggyback?
yes,
I
yeah,
really, I don't interrupt. I apologize. I just want to say right now, one of you, I have no idea about Static. I don't want to say like they had to put this in here as a stupid white old man. Okay, for the record, but I want to say I hope when they make this movie, this is an aspect of the character. And I'm going to ask you a question
agreed.
here. Yeah, because I love this, especially this page itself. John Paul Leon. This is so simple, but so brilliant. And it shows you that one page of a comic book can just punch you in the gut. Because, like you said, I'm not trying to spoil things here, but this is a great moment because, again, we see the character struggling to, like, he's being beaten down, and as inner city, what race you are, guns are an avenue to obviously to be powerful and to get
Yep.
power quickly, right? And of course, it's given to him, and he's like, I'm gonna do it. I love here that he just can't do it. And it's like, damn, he wanted to do it. And it shows you how realistic it is that his power, his origin is tied into something that he almost did that was an awful, awful thing. I really do think this has to be a part of his origin. And I'm curious in the movie, because I think it shows kids that, one, you're not alone when you're feeling powerless. You want to find a way to get even any way possible, because getting power is not an unnatural thing. It is a very natural thing. And it's not wrong to want power. It's wrong to use it in the awful way that he was going to potentially use it here. And that you can, even though you may go that route, you can always stop, and it's okay to, like, almost get there, just never to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, to have that to be a representation for people is, I mean, especially in today's world, is so critical, in my opinion. So I'm gonna shut the hell up because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. The only thing I'm gonna ask you guys both is this a part of his origin now? I'm assuming the cartoon, this was not in the cartoon, but in the comic books, do we know, is this a part of the origin still?
No. So they changed it up a little bit. So in this, right, he goes to, like, this gang meetup. He knows that Hot Streak. Well, at that point, he's known as, in the show, he's called Francis. I forget what his name is. I forget what his name is in the comic. But he goes there. He knows all these gangs are meeting up. He's gonna shoot and kill Francis, aka Hot Streak. And the police know there's gangs there, so they spray this experimental gas on them that turns them all into bang babies or metahumans. In the new comic, they updated to say Static was at, or Virgil was at, a Black Lives Matter protest. And
other Chris, sorry.
And Static was at Black Lives Matter protests, and the police, to break it up, they spray experimental chemicals there. I understand their reasoning for switching it. But I find this to be,
oh my god.
So, the thing is, the origination of the Big Bang gas is that police in real life use gas on protesters, on black protesters.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so, like, I get why I'm not mad at this new retcon, if you will. Well, it's not retcon, it's a whole new universe. I'm not mad at it. I understand it. But man, that original origin of, I am about to do something horrible. I'm about to go down a path that there's no return from.
Yep.
And if I do this, my life is forever changed, and this person's life is forever gone. Holy crap, I'm not that person. Mm-hmm. Like, that is a great moment. Reminds me of the moment Batman Begins, where Bruce is holding a gun and throws it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad you guys are in agreement with me, at least Reverend. I'm not sure if you are in agreement. Would you think that
no, I mean, I would think that that's probably a pretty essential beat. I don't see any reason why they can't potentially, like, hybridize the two in some form.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But I think that there is a lot to be said about these series of choices that he makes, in terms of having the resolve to actually decide to kill somebody, but then having the presence of mind to realize that that's not who he is. I think that there is something to be said about that. And I think it immediately puts readers, or in other media's case, watchers, on his side, when he chooses of his own volition to try and find a better path. I mean, that's the beginning of a hero, right? So I think that would be a pretty essential thing to include. So, when the time comes, because I'm pretty sure it's going to, hopefully the people in charge will see it the same way.
And
I hope so. I hope James Gunn just lets because things are so up in the air. I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not. The movie, it could be one of those things that are separate, and if it is separate, fine. Like, I would love for it to be tied in, but I'm really cool either way. If you want to tie Static into the main,
tie it in, man. Like I think
I do too.
DC needs younger characters. I mean, honestly, they don't have a lot of young characters besides the Teen Titans, but I feel like you can do a lot with Static because he's very much a solo character, right? So I feel like there's a lot of goodwill you could build up.
The place that Static occupies is not dissimilar from the place that Peter Parker occupies in the Marvel U. Right. The thing that I was actually just on an episode of one of JJ Hodges' podcasts, Spider-Man Book Club. We talked about Mr. Parker Goes to Washington, the lead into the Civil War tie-ins for Amazing that JMS wrote, and it's pretty clear, like, especially during that time, Spider-Man within the Marvel universe is like a third or fourth tier superhero, even though in our world he's Marvel's mascot, right? So Static isn't DC's mascot, but I think that if he is in a shared universe alongside, conceivably by that point, members of the Titans or the Teen Titans or Young Justice or whomever, being separate but still reaching his own level of independence, it seems like that would be something for the Titans to aspire to. So I think that he could very clearly have a niche all his own while still benefiting from being in the shared construct of the DC universe, because again, he's a powerful guy. So it's not outside the realm of possibility to think that something big happens and there is some sort of like Infinity War Endgame moment in a DC movie someday. That's going to be someone you want around,
the one thing here, Commander Chris, I wanted to tell you, this is the same character as the Static Shock series. So, I'm not sure what you mean by checkered. What do you mean by checkered? You mean like the cover, like the covers are checkered? I'm really confused. I apologize, Commander Chris. Do you guys know what he's talking about? Any at all? Here, I have no idea. Commander Chris, I apologize. Please specify. You guys will like him. He likes Nightfall. So he was on the Star Wars. My Star Wars.
They had like checkerboard covers in like the Silver Age, but I'm not totally sure exactly what.
I think that's what he's referring to. I think he's referring to the Silver Age. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So Commander Chris, this is definitely the same character, Static Shock. We'll wrap up here. Not Reverend, but the other Chris, Objective Geek Chris. This has been awesome. I need to get you. I feel bad. I told you before the show. I'll tell you again. I feel bad for not getting you on sooner. I told you I would after we did our Batman review. This only makes me feel like I need to get you on more on a regular basis. This is a blast. I'll get you back on here in the next couple months. If you're free, if you're cool with it, I'll get you back on here. So
I'm definitely cool with it. You record at the perfect time, unlike other podcasts. We record during the day when I got father stuff, job stuff to do.
Tell him no, Chris. So
I just asked my wife, "Hey, can you watch the kids while I go downstairs and talk about?"
She's like, "What?"
Yeah,
that's awesome. So man, yeah, I guess give me your final thoughts. Give people like your recommendations for Static if they want to get deep dive into the Static. Just get an idea of like where, because I think the first 8 issues are fine, but if there's other things besides the first 8 issues, if you think the new series is worthy, let us know and tell us also where we can find you.
Yeah, to wrap up Static, the first 8 issues I think are really great. They're really solid. I love them. I think reading the first four is a definitely must. Um, there's a story arc later on that I think is one of the best story arcs. Dang, I can't even
Okay.
remember what it was. Sorry. The new comics I think are really good. Nicholas Von Draper, I think is his name, is doing the art form. He has such a different style. He has way more of like an anime style, which
Mhm.
I love because I love anime. Um,
You were telling me that
but in
before.
his first season one, I love the art because to me it's so cinematic in a sense. Like just the way he draws action, I think is done really well,
Mm.
and I'm really looking forward to this season because there's one character from the show that doesn't originate in the comics. His name is Ebon. He's just like dark, shadowy character who like controls shadows and stuff.
Oh,
He like
cool.
leads this gang called the Meta Gang, and like he seems like the if like Hot Streak is probably Static's arch nemesis, and then there's Ebon. Like two of them are like probably his two from watching TV show, his two arch nemesis. Although Alva is the creative Alva, the Alva Industries, the businessman, and evil businessman.
He's like
He's
the
probably
overarching villain of everybody,
yes,
right?
yeah, of
Yeah,
every yeah of
all
everyone,
milestone characters, right.
yeah,
Okay, right on, right on. Well, yeah, I wanted to check it out. For those who, when you say seasons, the comic, it's all on DC Unlimited. The new Static comics are seasons. They're not like an ongoing series. It's a season
yeah.
thing. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, for the love of comics, Auctionmon. Oh my goodness. Sir, I was about to email you the other day. I just want you to know. Greetings. I'm assuming, I don't want to assume here, sir, but have you read Static Comics? Let me know. I don't know. Maybe you have. Do you read any Milestone comics? Have you read any of
Oh,
these?
another great book. This was like one of my first introductions to him. Is this like I just showed? I think you find it on Hoopla. It is
Oh yeah.
this. It's called Status Shock and Birth of the Cool. It's the first 4 issues of the series, and then they did this one-off story years later, kind of to wrap up the Milestone universe almost because it ends with a big fight against Alpha. Like all of the different superheroes and stuff. Like they have
Right,
different
right, right.
serial teams. There's a Shadow Cabinet. There's the heroes. It's sort of a huge team up, and it really solidifies Static, I think, as the beacon of the Milestone universe. This one I think really stuck me with
Okay.
just that whole universe. It really enticed me to read more about all the other
Will you
characters.
do me a favor, Chris? Will you just put up to the camera? I'll blow you up here and we'll just, I just want to, so you're recommending, not you, Reverend. This one. Okay, here we go. And this, what issues are these are now?
You said what issues are there? Oh,
Yeah,
so within so this is a trade paperback. It has the first 4 issues of the original run of Static, and
oh, okay.
then it has like 4 issues of a one-off comic book called Rebirth of the Cool,
Okay.
and it's like the first comic book appearance of him wearing the suit from the TV show. He
Okay.
wears it for just a little bit because it's more of a. He actually wears it more than that now. I think about it.
Is this not, no, put up
Oh,
for
sorry.
love of comics? No, you're good. Is this out of print? Is this one out of print? But do you know?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Oh no. All right. So anyway,
I'm pretty sure you can find it on Hoopla though.
okay. Oh,
But I'm
yeah,
pretty sure it's out
Hoopla.
of print. It's old.
If you guys want to know, Hoopla is if you want free comic books, just get on your phone or your tablet or computer. Hoopla through the library. It's amazing. For love of comics, yes, they reprinted all. They're starting to reprint all the comic books. This is the compendium, and it's what's different about this, which I thought was really interesting, was this is actually it's all like a bunch of the first like series issues, but it's not like 1 through 6 at a time. It's more linear, like issue 1 of Icon Rocket, like 1, 2, and 3, and then like it's more chronological through the stories of all the different series. So it's really it's a little annoying if you want to just read one story, like one series. But I do appreciate it. One day when I want to deep dive this thing, it's it's all in here, and it's not too expensive either. You can get it on. I want to say it's $30-40, but look how freaking huge this is. And I know,
Yeah.
like
Then
you,
they did a second one also.
yeah, the second one here, yeah. So, and the thing is too, me and Angshuman from For Love of Comics were talking about this on our show the other day. We did a couple weeks ago. Was we're not a big omnibus people, right? Like we're not into that world. And I will say the compendiums, like, and Chris, not you, Reverend, the other Chris. The one thing is, I love saying that, by the way. I don't like omnibuses, but this is not the same as an omnibus. This is a lot easier to read.
It's pretty close to an omnibus.
Hold on a second. I can actually lift this up and be like, oh, and read it like this. I could not do that with an omnibus.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You just choose not to. Oh yeah, you're gonna grab the biggest, most ridiculous one that you have, and you're gonna put your thumb on the scale.
Oh, hold on. Let me just bring this omnibus up.
You're doing it.
It ain't fun. This thing is like this is working out. This is not fun.
Not all omnibi are that large.
You are correct, and for the record, if you actually watch your own show, sir, you would know I would tell For Love of Comics. We're talking about Untold Tales of Spider-Man. That's a reasonable omnibus. But I will even say
Batman ones. Those are fine.
Those are fine too. Anyway, anyway, we gotta wrap this up. I appreciate this.
Yeah, as soon as I start making a good point, then we have to wrap this.
Yeah,
up.
We gotta wrap this up. Chris's reference making too much sense. No, I recommend this. I know. Now, For Love of Comics, for those who don't know, he's not the biggest superhero guy. He likes superheroes, but not as much as maybe me or Chris Clow here. But these are fun, and I do think the compendiums are worth picking up. And they're not. And I think that the price factor is the biggest one. Clow is that I do think that because they're not as expensive, it's a little more reasonable.
That's
in my opinion.
That is a fair distinction to draw. Yes. I will give you that. I just love the oversize, especially if it's artwork that you really love. Like if they did a static omnibus, I'd buy that.
For sure. Are you kidding me? Absolutely.
But the oversized format, to me, that's the strength of the omnibus.
I could see that, and by the way, maybe I might have to figure out a way we can do this. Cause I know I'm not sure if you've read these or not, Angshuman, but we need to read Starman. Like I have the first compendium. They have a compendium of Starman, which there's another one they just released too. We got to check that out because I got to tell you, because it's easier. These are easier to read for me. Like I need to get more of these compendiums. I'm a compendium fan.
You know what Starman needs though? Starman needs sustained absolute editions. That's what Starman needs. But
absolutes are, dude. DC, they have, it's weird. They have their act together in some ways and trades, and in other ways they don't because everything's out of print. It's obnoxious. It's
the
so
absolute
obnoxious.
For Arkham Asylum goes for like $500 on its own, and I don't know why that's not a book that's always in print. But yeah,
and yes, Adam, omnibuses are definitely worth to read. It's obnoxious as hell,
but they're great because it's everything. Everything is there.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Anyway. Objective Geek, Chris, where can people find you? Please give out your deets.
On Twitter, you can find me at The Objective Geek or Chris, aka The Objective Geek. I have a YouTube channel, which I don't do many videos on, but I do have a podcast. That, I know, just hobbies. I have a podcast though about Avatar: The Last Airbender called Avatar: The Last Podcasters, where we talk about the show Avatar and all of its other incarnations. Avatar as in not the blue people, because I hate those. I don't hate them. They're fine movies. Although I haven't seen the second one. Sorry. You can find that on wherever you get podcasts on, or on the YouTube channel called Avatar: The Last Podcasters / The Objective Geek. Go watch Avatar. It's great. I sound hyperbolic when I tell people that it's one of the greatest fictional stories ever told.
Really quickly, Commander, I have not read Solomon Kane. Anyone know who he's talking about? I'm gonna check it out though. Nobody. So someone in the chat maybe can line in here. Let's see here. Let's see what we got. Angshuman says, yes, thank you. This by the way, for Love of Comics, for those who don't know, probably the best comic book channel on YouTube, bar none. Go subscribe right now, people. He's amazing. I love this guy. See, oh, there you go, Chris. You got a fan right here. For Love of Comics, go subscribe to his Avatar thing. He's big. I have not seen it. I had honestly, no offense to either of you guys, I have no interest of watching it. I don't know. I'm sorry.
You say that, and then you'll be like, "Holy crap! This character arc is the best character arc ever."
I've heard of it, but you know, Dave Filoni.
He started off in season 1.
Yep. So
that's how I try to reel Star Wars people in. Like Dave Filoni directed a bunch of episodes in season 1.
I'm like, okay. I mean, that's why George Lucas hired him, was because of Avatar to be Avatar. Is it Avatar or is it Avatar?
Just Avatar. That's how they.
Okay.
Oh,
Avatar. Okay. I know.
Don't watch the movie. Don't watch the movie. Whatever you do.
I know. And okay. Both of you guys, I won't watch the movie. And yes, I know. Listen. Chris Clow will tell you, I don't know what I'm missing about a lot of things, right, Chris? So, anyway, yeah. God, I hate you. All right. Go subscribe to for the Love of Comics. Tell them the comic book sent you. Seriously, thank you so much for jumping in here, man. I really appreciate it. So go follow your stuff on there. What was your podcast that's not on YouTube?
It's called it's on YouTube and also the various podcast sites, called Avatar, The Last Podcasters. I did it with my friend Sean. We recently hosted a panel at Planet City Comic Con, which is like one of the absolute funnest things to ever do. It's freaking amazing. It's like that's
Commander.
But Avatar Last Podcasters, or you can find me on Twitter. I'm on there. I don't have many hot takes. I'll never be popular on Twitter because
we argued about Margaret or
we did.
Robbie, Pretty Lady Gaga. You trying to come at
people were getting on you about
they were. You know what? I'll take them. I'll take them all on.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Instead of court gesture Barbie, you like the court clerk Barbie.
Hey, you know what? I like the studious look. What can I say?
I said Barbie Harley. Why did I say because Margot Robbie is in the Barbie movie. Yeah, never mind. That's why.
Yeah, we're all here. Reverend, please.
You can find me on Twitter at Chris Clow, ChrisClow.
Anyway, so Chris is gone. So I'm just kidding.
Check out the latest episode of Discovery Debrief, a Star Trek podcast where two awesome guests, Kyle Sullivan of the YouTube channel Trexpertise and a friend of the show, Zach Moore, the host of Always Hold On to Smallville, joins our panel to break down the 6th episode of Star Trek Picard Season 3 with a ridiculous amount of really fun callbacks, but it's also the episode that finally reunites pretty much the entire crew from Star Trek The Next Generation. So we had a lot of thoughts. We went for a long time on that one, but it was a blast. And it's a great show. So if you're watching it, then come along for the ride on Discovery Debrief with us.
Yeah. Right on.
Do you two fight over Star Trek versus Star Wars?
I like both. Paul's the only one who's myopic and refuses to like one of them.
Hey, I love Undiscovered Country. You know this.
That's the best Star Trek movie, but you got.
It is the best Star Trek movie.
You got to watch
Fantastic.
DS9. You got to watch DS9. You do.
I will. Whenever Justin decides to call me back.
I often say that my favorite Star Trek show is the original series, but the best Star Trek show is Deep Space Nine.
Right on. Well, please go subscribe, and it makes Spider sense, right, y'all? Go subscribe to the Comic Binge. Appreciate everyone who subscribed and everything. Really appreciate it. Like the video, comment. Again, follow me on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Super appreciate everyone who comes on the show. Seriously, it means a lot to me. Everyone, yeah, please keep hope alive with comic books, my friends. Oh God, Commander
Well, you
Chris.
must watch Star Trek a lot then.
he loves Commander Chris likes to watch the world burn. I'll just say that. But I like that though about him.
We
But
got
anyway,
Mando. Mando's good. Andor's good.
I
There's
love
plenty
Mando,
good
dude.
stuff.
Yeah. Again, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have you on again soon. It won't be so long next time. And Reverend, why don't you take us out, sir?
Read more comics.
All right. Bye.